Blue?
Here.
Blue here. Huff? Huff here. Block?
Here.
Block here. Hancock? Leyva? Mendoza? Mendoza here. Pan?
Here.
Pan here. Vidak?
Here.
Vidak here.
Okay. Okay, great. We have 6 members present. Since we don't have Senator Laura, Senator Block. Oh, by the way, item 4, I don't know which, item 3, Senator Hancock's SB 211 has been pulled. So we only have 2 bills today. Wait till next week. Be brief.
Right across.
Thank you. Go ahead. Good morning.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Today I'm presenting SB 191, which is jointly authored myself and Senator Vidak. This is a bill that is critical to many of the districts in the state. It deals with transportation to and from schools. And in terms of importance, transportation is truly right up there with quality teachers, quality principals. If a student can't get to school in a timely fashion, in a safe fashion, they obviously can't learn, can't be successful. Unfortunately, funding levels for school transportation have been locked in at the amounts received in the early 1980s. Since that time, that was based on population and demographics, and since that time we know population has shifted greatly. Some regions have grown tremendously, like in the Inland Empire. Other regions have lost students, but transportation funding has remained constant. The LAO concluded in a recent study that the reimbursement rates for school transportation are outdated and inequitable. SB 191 strives to correct that. SB 191 raises home-to-school reimbursement rates for schools that are most severely underfunded up to 50% over a 7-year period, and provides an annual cost of living adjustment for transportation funding for all schools. The funding equalization would be implemented over a period of years from 2014-15 through 2020-21, so that full implementation of transportation funding would coincide with full implementation of the LCFF. Most recent data available from the California Department of Education indicates that school districts spent over $1.2 billion transporting students. In 2012-13, districts received less than $492 million in state funding for transportation. This deficit, nearly 2/3 of the total cost, is made up for by taking money out of the classroom and using it for transportation, where the state really has an obligation to provide direct transportation funding. In 2013, the governor and legislature acknowledged the need to address disproportionate cost drivers associated with poverty and English language learners by establishing the local control funding formula. LCFF equalized funding between districts with increased funding toward those with highest need. At the time, transportation funding was left out of the LCFF formula and remained separate at its old 30-year-old levels. SB 191 addresses the one major inequity really left in school funding by extending the same principles of putting the dollars where the need is greatest toward transportation that it does in the LCFF formula. With me here to testify today are Jeff Frost, who represents the California School Boards Association, the sponsor of the bill, Mike Ray, the Executive Director of West County Transportation Agency and Chair of the Transportation School Coalition, and others. The bill is supported not only by the sponsor, of course, CSBA, but also by the California School Employees Association, California Association of School Business Officials, CASBO, the School Transportation Coalition, California Association of School Transportation Officials, California Association of Suburban School Districts, and the Rural County Representatives of California. I ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Those in support of the bill.
Madam Chair, members, Jeff Frost, representing the California School Boards Association, who is the sponsor of the bill. Excuse me. I'm choked up after that great introduction. This bill, as Senator Block indicated, is really about equity. This program has been in business for a long time, and as Mr. Ray can give you more details about, The districts that have maintained transportation programs are those that have to maintain programs. They have significant distribution needs in terms of miles traveled. It's the only way to get kids to school. So in the last 5, 6, 7 years where we have made significant budget cuts, these districts have had to keep their programs alive. They have had no choice but to do that, and that comes at the expense of programmatic activity in the classroom. And as Senator Block has indicated, this is the sort of last component of the LCFF where we have to get to the same level of equity and integrity that we have done for the other components of the program. The governor determined that this was a standalone program that should be kept. Many other categoricals were not. We believe now that it's been kept, it needs to be equitably funded, which is why we support the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Please.
My name is Mike Ray. I'm the Executive Director of West County Transportation Agency, which is a joint powers agreement of 16 school districts in Sonoma County. And as the Senator mentioned, I'm also a member of the California Association of School Transportation Officials and the School Transportation Coalition. As you've heard, school transportation funding is the worst funded element of the education budget. It's severely underfunded and disproportionate, and the funding only covers approximately 35% of the overall need in California. The important point is special ed transportation is mandated under federal law, and there is no federal funding that was provided for that, and it's grown tremendously over the last 32 years since the funding has been capped. Last year, as you know, the Legislative Analyst's Office did a study on school transportation, verified the facts of the program, and one of their recommendations was to fund school transportation as we have modeled in this bill in SB 191, which is up to 50% of the approved cost of school districts. SB 191 also resolves the uncertainty of funding for joint powers agreement, continues the collection of data, and ensures that school districts will be able to continue to reasonably fund this program so that they can adhere to the very strict state laws and regulations. So I urge your support of SB 191. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. Jeff Aka, representing the California Association of School Business Officials, in strong support of the bill. I think the only thing I would add to Senator Block's presentation and the previous testimony is that this has long been a priority for our members to deal with these historical inequities, but also to add that as much as we would love to see full funding, full reimbursement for the costs of transportation, we believe that the approach in SB 191 is a very prudent approach. It begins that process to bring folks up to a level of equity. We would love to continue the conversation. We've had many conversations with the Department of Finance and will continue to do so. And in the meantime, we urge a strong support for this bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please.
Madam Chair, members, Michael Hulsizer on behalf of the Kern County Superintendent of Schools Office in strong support. We just want to thank Senator Block and also Senator Vidak as principal co-author for joining hands on this bill. Senator Block's opening was very articulate, summarized the issue of equity. This is an issue that is about urban, rural, suburban. Every one of your districts, every one of them have school districts that are under 25% in reimbursement and need this equity funding. We urge you to support the bill. Thank you.
Good morning, Patty Herrera, representing Riverside County Schools. I'd really like to align myself to the comments made by Mr. Vaca. Riverside County is one of those counties in which we have large disparities in reimbursement rates for these valuable home-to-school transportation programs. We're particularly appreciative to Senator Block for his leadership on this issue, and we really like the provision that provides COLA to the program in order for us to sustain them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair and members, Erin Evans representing the Campbell Union School District. The Campbell Union School District supports particularly the COLA provision of SB 191, and we are a school district that serves nearly 7,500 children in pre-K through 8th grade. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Barrett Snyder on behalf of the San Diego County Office of Education, San Bernardino, County Office of Education, and San Francisco Unified School District. I want to echo the comments made before me. Thanks.
Thank you. Any others in support? Is there anyone opposed to the bill?
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. Moira Top here on behalf of the California Charter Schools Association. Regrettably, we are here with a position of oppose unless amended, essentially because the bill continues, while it does provide equity for many school districts, it continues to lock out all charter schools from the program. As was stated earlier, the formula was based and created in the 1980s, before charter schools ever existed. I don't think it was an anti-charter sentiment that charter schools aren't able to participate, but it's a function of the fact that it's a 30-year-old formula. And our charter schools and charter school students face the exact same challenges that district public school students face in terms of we're located in rural areas with long distances to travel. We're in urban areas where children need safe transportation to school. So we would greatly support a home-to-school transportation program that provides complete equity within the program and allows charter schools to fully participate in the program. Thank you.
Okay, any questions from members? Would you, Senator Block, would you like to respond to the
Sure.
charter schools opposition? Unless amended?
I understand my good friend's concern regarding charter schools. This bill fixes a broken statute from the 1980s, and charter schools weren't part of that. I would welcome and would probably personally support a separate bill that brought funding for charter schools. That's just not this bill. As you heard from the charter school people, they didn't say there's anything wrong with what this bill does for our many K-12 public schools, regular traditional public schools. So that's a different bill. I don't really take that as criticism of this bill. It's just a bill that you're not having before you right now. And I do want to make clear, Senator Vidak is not the principal co-author. He is, in fact, the joint author of this bill. His name is on the bill as well. With that, I would be happy to, I guess nobody had any questions, so I'm happy to have your aye vote.
Okay, thank you. Questions from members? I appreciate the coming forward with this bill, trying to achieve some kind of equity. Of course, this is not, you're in charge of the budget, so we'll see what happens. I need a motion on the bill. Okay, the bill has been moved. Please call the roll.
Do pass to appropriations. Lou?
Aye.
Lou, aye. Huff? Huff, aye. Block?
Aye.
Block, aye. Hancock?
Aye.
Aye. Hancock, Leyva? Aye. Leyva. Mendoza? Aye. Mendoza. Pan? Aye. Pan. Vidak? Aye. Vidak. That's 8-0.
8-0, your bill is out.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Senator Laura, you have SB 200. Welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. I would like to accept the amendments on page 3 as author amendments in the analysis. SB 200 would update California's K-12 residency requirements to permit a child who resides with their parent the majority of the week at their place of employment to enroll their child in the local school district, even if they maintain another principal residence. Many workers, like nannies, caregivers, and maids, sacrifice time with their family to care for others. These workers are often required to live part-time or full-time with their employers to fulfill their duties of their job. Last year, in Orinda Unified School District, allowed a family of a Caucasian child the opportunity to provide further documentation of her residency, while the case for a Latina child, a private investigator was hired to follow her and then was kicked out of the school as a result. Currently, school districts have the discretion to allow inter-district transfer so that a child may attend the school in the same area as where their parent or guardian is employed, but they're not required to do so, and there is no differential treatment for live-in workers. SB 200 would update California's school residency laws to ensure that the children of live-in workers are able to attend school in the district in which they work. Parents must work and reside at the place of their employment for a minimum of 3 days per work week. For these workers, the nature of their employment affects far more than their commute. These workers may not fit the traditional family model, but should not face undue hardship to keep their families together. It is critical that they have the option to keep their children with them during the work week. In closing, members, it is disgraceful that any school district would engage in this kind of behavior, especially in our most diverse state, which is the state of California. With me today is Miriam Storch, who will elaborate on what happened to her family and employee in Orinda Union School District.
Thank you. Please.
Good morning. I'm Miriam Storch. I am a native and current resident of Orinda, California. In early November of last year, as we were still settling into our new home in Orinda, our local school district launched a secret, one-sided investigation to drive our live-in nanny, Maria, and her child, Vivian, out of our local school. They hired a private investigator to lie in wait at Maria's mother's house in another city, where she resides on the weekends, in order to build the case that Maria's primary residence is outside district lines and that she therefore does not meet the residency requirements. Before we even knew an investigation had taken place, we had received a letter dismissing Vivian from the district, giving us just 10 days to enroll her elsewhere. You can imagine our surprise. We, of course, fought hard to prove that both Maria and Vivian live with us during the school week. We compiled photos of their belongings in our home, wrote letters, got the media involved, and hired an attorney. The process worked, but the experience was exhausting, humiliating, and degrading for all of us, Maria especially. The fact of the matter is that if Vivian couldn't attend school in our district, she would be forced to live with relatives or other unrelated caregivers. Because her mother is a single mother, and her mother resides with us for the majority of the week. And why should Vivian live with anyone but her mother? As a mother myself, I can't fathom a single acceptable answer. It is always in a child's best interest to reside with their parent and to attend school where the parent resides, because children need their parents to guide and support their academic progress. When a child is left with relatives or other caregivers, the child's chances for academic success and life success are greatly diminished. Who will read with them? Who will help them with their homework? Children in these situations are almost certainly condemned to the lower classes. By the same token, domestic workers should not have to choose between their children and their work. The law should support any arrangement that keeps children with their parents and enrolled in school where the parents can reasonably participate in and support the child's academic experience. It is the state's duty to ensure that all children in California have a fair shot at achieving academic success, and that above all, families stay intact. Thank you.
Thank you. Others in support?
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair and members. I'm Liz Guillen with Public Advocates. We're in strong support of the bill. In a state where education is compulsory, it seems like a very reasonable fix to a situation where some children who have the greatest needs for attending school can be allowed to attend school where their parents live and where they live with their parents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brian Allison on behalf of the 66,000 domestic workers here in the state of California who work for the United Domestic Workers, AFSCME. I wanted to just voice my strong support for this bill as well, given the comments that are previously stated. So we urge you to support this piece of legislation.
Thank you. Any others in support? Is there anyone opposed to the bill? Or any questions or comments from the dais? Senator Huff?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think your bill hits a very important issue of having where our kids go in our current system that tends to lock them in their district of residence as opposed to others. We will be seeing another bill, this committee, that will be extending choice, where districts declare themselves districts of choice, and that would hit your situation right now. Should the nannies be in a district of choice, then the district residents couldn't say no, they could go. But, you know, somewhere along the line, maybe we will figure out how to accommodate our K-12 system as we have our community colleges. When I was going to school, we had districts in community colleges, and now they're open. You can go to whichever one fits your needs the best if you can get there. And I think in publicly funded school, a good axiom is if you can get there, you ought to be able to go there. I'll support your bill and happy to move that when it's appropriate.
Okay, all right. Any other questions or, for Senator Laura?
I would move the bill.
Thank you. It's a common sense happenstance of what happened here. It's a clarification of the current piece of legislation that we have, and we're happy to support the bill. So the bill's been moved.
Do pass as amended to appropriations. Lou?
Aye.
Lou, aye. Huff? Huff, aye. Block? Block, aye. Hancock?
Aye.
Aye. Hancock. Leyva? Aye. Leyva. Mendoza? Aye. Mendoza. Pan? Aye. Aye. Pan. Vidak? Aye. Aye. Vidak. 8-0.
8-0, your bill is out. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Close it.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Madam Chair, just for purposes of announcement, I wanted, since this is our last meeting until next Wednesday, to remind committee members that we are having an information oversight hearing of the community schools and after-school program subcommittee, and of course would welcome the participation of
the committee.
all of the entire committee. It's going to be, I think, at 3 o'clock.
Right.
Next Wednesday.
Thank you. Okay, there being no further business, the meeting adjourned. Thank you, members.